Hey everyone, and welcome to an update for Planet Zoo 2. There is the first dev diary. Frontier was so kind to send this in ahead of time, and now I can even on my holiday do a little analysis for you. But let's first of all roll that thing and then get into it actually.
Hey, it's great to have you here. Fen have been working with animals all over the globe, and we're thrilled to have your help. We're kicking things off right here in Southern Africa. Let's get started. This is our latest lion habitat. Our new lioness Zuri has just moved in with Tao, our bachelor, and we're hoping she might find more than just a home here. Perhaps a family? Lions breed all year round, unlike some of our animals that are seasonal, like our African penguins and saltwater crocodiles. You know, most animals have an incredibly complex emotional life. They can feel anger, fear, and joy. Our Zuri doesn't look too happy right now, but once we fix up her habitat and address her welfare needs, you'll see just how comfortable she is here. The longer we spend with our animals, researching them, the more we understand what they need to thrive, which is obviously great for them, but also for our zoo's reputation and donations, allowing us to keep rehabilitating, breeding, and reintroducing animals to the wild. Speaking of the wild, there's a group of zebra we recently released to our Great Rift Valley Wildlife Reserve. Did you know a herd of zebra is called a dazzle? Looks like our dazzles made some friends. They're probably used to cohabitating back at the zoo. Right, we should head back. There's still a lot to see. Now here's a noisy bunch, our western chimpanzees. They can be so expressive. Their facial muscles are almost identical to humans. Although, unlike us, they tend to travel on all fours, walking on their knuckles. We may even see them brachiate, hand over hand swinging on our climbing frames. It's getting late, but we're not done yet. I've just had news from our lion habitat. Let's head back. Zuri is pregnant. We've got a little while to wait until we hear the pitter-patter of tiny paws, but this is brilliant news. Caring for the welfare of animals in zoos and breeding them for the wild is so important. And now, you're part of that too. There's a lot more to explore, but we'll have to wait until next time before we start diving any deeper. See you soon, zookeepers!
And I want to go through that step by step with you guys. We're going to start with some animal reveals, or not reveals, but we do see some footage of the red panda. I will even include some footage from socials that we haven't seen before on this channel. And there is a bit of footage from the African penguin. Both of them looking really good. I must admit that I haven't seen... Actually, I didn't think the red panda is so much better looking, but from the footage, especially on social, you can tell how much nicer and better it looks, especially when it comes to the overall animation. But I'll get to the animation overall at the end of the video anyway, so keep up for that one if you're interested a bit more in detail, because I've got some more knowledge from our studio visit back in the day. But then I guess we need to move over to the biggest glow up of all times. So let's go on to the West African lion. Alright, let's talk about the West African lion that they have showcased this time around. And I've got a lot to say. While we do see the footage looping in the background from the West African lion, I have to say, this one looks really fantastic. We've seen this in the studio visit. This was basically the first animal they showed us in the presentation when they said from Animals 1.0 to 2.0. And as the information about Animals 2.0 is out, we can obviously speak about that. Some press articles have revealed this too. So the animals have a complete overhaul. These animals are not the same as in Planet Zoo 1. These are built from the ground up again. And I think with the West African lion, you can absolutely tell where this is coming from. I am more than hyped about this animal. It looks so good. And what I found especially great is if you look, especially where they put their paws and so on, especially on rocks or if they run around, this looks so good, and you know, there's just so much great stuff to see in this footage over here. When they're fighting, when they run around, when they interact with the environment, it looks all so much more smooth and just natural, other than just like, you know, entering an animation loop and exiting an animation loop. This all looks so much more natural, and just in general, the model, in my opinion, it looks better than all of the mods we have seen for Planet Zoo 1, and that is a compliment, because these mods have been rather incredible every now and then, and I am mega happy that Frontier has really took that as a benchmark and went over it. The only little caveat I have, but that's just like you can't solve that really, but like I have this iconic like waving from the main, when, you know, there's this iconic video when like a male lion shakes its head, and then you've got that like wave in the main. That looks just so cool, and obviously the shader in here, as great as it looks, is not really moving. And that would have been, you know, the cherry on the ice, or the icing on the cherry, or whatever you say that. It's actually the cherry on the ice, right? Or cherry on the cake. You get it. Anyways, this one looks phenomenal. I really, really like that. But this is also, there's a lot more to see in this dev diary, especially that we can finally say, and I think that's the case, there is nesting going on. Why do I say so? Well, let's skip over to the next part. And I do get this a little bit earlier in the video. Normally in the dev diary that's a bit later, but we can see the saltwater crocodile climbing on something that looks oddly like a nest. And if you look at real life, and I do thank the wonderful Eben who has told me that and showcased the photo, there was some fuss already in some of the earlier footages we've seen in the last couple of weeks, but people weren't too sure about if that really is a nest, but now we can tell this is a nest. And considering there is footage of a saltwater adult crocodile and a juvenile of some sort, or teen, next to it, because comparing to the juvenile in Planet Zoo 1, this one looks way too chunky for a normal juvenile of the saltwater crocodile. So I assume we either do see bigger kids, but then also the footage of the West African lion's baby or juvenile doesn't really fit in, because they are exactly the same size as they have been in the first game. But that saltwater juvenile over here looks, or maybe teen, doesn't look as small as they used to be. So it could either be a correction or a little hint for maybe 3 stages. I still don't want to believe in continuous growth of these babies. I don't really think so. It would obviously be absurd, but in the positive way. I would never need that, to be honest, but having 3 instead of 2 stages, I would absolutely take right away. So if that is the thing, I'm absolutely in for it. But yeah, you can definitely tell breeding and just in general caring for animals and making sure that these animals can actually breed, not only in the zoo but also in the wildlife reserves, is something really, really, really damn good. And I really picked that one out over here because I think that is one of the more important bits from that dev diary over here. But we've got one more to talk about, so let's jump into the last one. In fact, we actually have to speak about 2 things, because we have seen a teaser for the Blacktip reef shark at the end of the video. But as I said, I wanted to talk about animations as well. Let's quickly talk about a bit more of a generic stuff in here. So I'm going to leave the trailer running in the background, because that is just what I'm saying right now goes on the trailer. It's the dev diary. Is basically about what we've seen. So they have also shown us a lot about the different things that we can do. But there's one thing in particular I wanted to point out, and that is the scenery brush we see in one space. And the scenery brush is absolutely incredible. We can see there are 9 different types of grass and 8 different types of soil, and let alone we can even see there's a scroll bar to the right hand side that goes crazily down. So I mean, that, considering there's like rock or some dirt or what, or sand maybe in there, gives us an incredible amount of control. And I must admit, guys, as a Planet Coaster 2 player, I'm like, my heart is bleeding right now. I really would love at least having half of this. It just shows that how much I would love a better crossover of both games. Like, I don't know why the natural kind of tools would be different in both games. So I would really love if Planet Coaster 2 would get that exact update. But we're talking about Planet Coaster 2, so what I want to say is how great that is. And in general, how great all the animations are. We can see in this trailer, not only from the lion, but also all these other animals. And this again goes to show that they can have multiple animation running at the same time now. And now seeing more and more in-game footage and actual gameplay footage, you can really tell, especially from the brachiation from the chimpanzees that also so obviously they look fantastic. We talked about the biggest glow up. Maybe this is one of the biggest glow ups as well. Maybe very much right behind the lion. The chimpanzee looks so much better than the first game's model. And yeah, I mean, just in general, it makes me just happy seeing all of that stuff. It looks so much more fleshed out and fixed, like in comparison to what I've seen in March. Now, all of this footage we're seeing now, you can see how much of a leap forward that has made. And considering they still have some months, oh my god, I'm so hyped for this game. But yeah, we have to talk about that last little teaser as well. So let's go into a conclusion, but also into the last little teaser of the Blacktip reef shark. Okay, so this one is maybe going to be a little bit boring in terms of the background loop, because there's just that tiny bit of footage we have. However, I wanted to quickly do this to, I could say, lay a fire in the comments, I should say. But no, I have to do that because I've done the video last week about all the different reveals, and there was that one article that said we're not going to see any citizens in the game. However, then people went crazy in the comments. And I mean, for engagement, that is great, but this went above and beyond. And I wanted to just quickly use that to clarify something. So this is exactly my point. We do have a Blacktip reef shark in the game. It's officially in, as you've seen footage of it now. And I don't really see where you would draw the red line to which animals can be in zoos and not. And we're still speaking about a digital zoo, don't get me wrong. But like, I do get most of the arguments for real life, okay? So I'm also very much well with this. All these citizens and stuff that are still in zoos, we should stop all the breeding programs and stop all of the stuff. But like, we shouldn't leave them to dying. You know, some of these animals live 30, 40 years, even in captivity. And you can't reintroduce them into the wild. So what is better then? To have them cared for in a zoo as best as somehow possible, or to leave them to die. You know, I would always advocate for the first one, because that would help to understand these animals better. We'll get money in to secure real life ones and so on and so forth. However, back to the game, I cannot see where the difference is. If you have a requirement for a Blacktip reef shark, this would also be enormous in comparison to all the other in-game animals. Where's the conversation about the elephants that would require something generally crazy? In Planet Zoo 1, we had the polar bear. And don't get me wrong, I love the fact we have this in-game, because I think if this game is a zoo game in the first place, and like, we can discuss about zoos, but zoos shouldn't have been there in the first place. But now they do exist, and now some zoos at least do care for conservation and making sure to have a lot of activities to reintroduce animals to make sure that the wildlife population is stable and whatnot. So they do act for good care. Yes, it's not all zoos. Yes, there's a lot of problems involved, blah blah. I know, but this is a game after all. And if Frontier would have said, okay, we draw a red line in some way of tanks and aquariums like they did with the first game, okay, fine. But now we have that, and we have a mola in the game, which is considered one of the most hardest animals to ever keep in zoos also. I mean, I don't see where the red line is. So for me personally, it would be hilarious if there is an argument like, yeah, okay, we have Blacktip reef shark with a mola, but we cannot have, I don't know, whatever, a manatee. I don't really know, guys. It's a bit of an odd one, but I'm very happy to have it seen in. It looks majestic in here. The footage is great, and I cannot wait to see that in game. And as I said, at this point, I would love to have them all in and just see how Frontier solves that with the campaign, with like reinforcing the idea that people need to bring them into maybe a secured lagoon of some sort or so, because that's something that happens in real life too. And I would love to see that idea tackled. Anyways, that's been it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that little video here. It's from holidays, so hopefully you appreciate me doing that here in a little room while everyone else is at the pool, and I'll be gladly joining them at the pools right now. So you do you, and you do your job. Like the video, subscribe if you haven't already. I'll talk to you in the next one. And also, there's some animal reveals right now, today, whatever. I'm not sure which ones these will be. I may cover them later or not. Depends on how cool they are, and depends on how much time I have. So see you then. Until then, have a good time.